So I decided to make pizza in my electric skillet. So here's our second ball of dough. Just kind of knead it again very quickly, nothing fancy. If you find that it's a little sticky, more water on your fingers. Water is the key. Once you have it where you want it, then you want to divide this in half and work with 1/2 because we can make 2 pizzas just out of this. So with this piece of dough, I'm going to divide this in half. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this in my electric skillet without anything on it. I'm going to blind bake it first. And that means that it's getting baked without a topping. But you see how very stretchy this dough is. Very, very easy to work with. Okay, there is the second one. This one's a little bigger, but that's okay. Here's my electric skillet. It is on 375. So I want to take these and put them right there. This is non-stick, so I didn't add any oil or anything. Here's my second one. I'm going to put it right there. Put the top on and wait for those to set up on the bottom. I want them to be a little bit browned on the bottom before I flip them over. And the nice thing about doing it in a skillet like this is that you can watch it, you can see it. But if you didn't have something like this, you could do this in a cast iron pan on the top of the stove, but you would have to really control the heat. This is more of an even heat, so it's easier to work with. So while that is cooking, we can talk about those toppings. Let me just move some of this out of the way. And we have our tomatoes. And for this, we're using plum tomatoes. And we have some fresh mozzarella cheese. So let's cut up our tomatoes first. Plum tomatoes are the tomato of choice for Italians. And of course, if you're using tomato and mozzarella and basil, what you're basically making is a pizza margherita, which is a classic pizza from Naples. So here are 2 plum tomatoes. And for the cheese, the mozzarella is a fresh cheese, not an aged cheese. So there are our tomatoes. And now let's get out our cheese. It comes like this in its own way. Usually 2 balls. And we're going to cut that up with our cheese and tomato knife because it's very, very delicate. This is what's known as a pasta filata cheese. And I'm just going to cut that again. So that is our topping for the pizza margherita that we're making. So now let's come back here and see how we're doing. If you're doing this in an electric skillet, you want this at about 375 to 400. You flip them over. You see how nice and brown they are. Almost like doing them in the oven. So now you can put your topping. Now you can use any topping you want, but I'm actually doing just the tomato and cheese. So once they are browned on one side, take your topping right over to the pan and add your tomatoes. Isn't that pretty? This is a great way not to heat up the kitchen, but to have pizza. And then some of the cheese goes over the top. When I take these out, I usually put a little bit of olive oil on them, some salt and pepper. Basically now I just want to let the other side cook and let that cheese melt. So there's one for you, and here is one for me. You'll be cool as a cucumber after you've baked these. And you can do a whole pile of these. This is also great for a party if you want to make individual pizzas. And here's the rest of that cheese. A good melting cheese is essential for this. So there's the mozzarella. And then, of course, we need basil with this, fresh basil. But I'm not going to put the fresh basil on until those pizzas are almost done, because I don't want to lose the flavor of the basil. But look at how beautiful those basil leaves are. So then you cover that back up. You wait for the cheese to melt, and there you have it.